You are listening to Unstoppable Actors, the essential podcast for ambitious, unknown actors with me, Louise, the artistic director of Standby Method Acting Studio. And for the last 13 years, I've been taking unknown actors with blank CVs all the way to Netflix dramas, Amazon Prime films, TV soaps, and stage plays around the world. And every week I'll be talking with you and sharing how you can become a paid working unstoppable actor, because you 1000% can. An acting career is doable. Are you ready to dive into the episode? Welcome back to Unstoppable Actors. If you are returning to the podcast and if you're brand new, welcome. So good to have you here. I'm so happy you're here. This is the place where you will become an unstoppable actor if you put to use all of the tools and the tips that I share with you in each and every episode, because that's my aim. I want you to become an unstoppable actor because, as I say in the intro, it's absolutely doable, despite what your mind might be telling you, all of the worries. Now, one of the things you have to do on your way to becoming an unstoppable actor is obviously auditions. And auditions can cause a lot of worries in actors of all levels, really, not just new actors who, started taking action on their goals and dreams, but also actors who've been at this a while, because auditions obviously open us up to criticism, and no human on the planet likes being rejected. So that's what I want to dive into today. I want to share with you how you can deliver better scenes in auditions, which are going to improve your chances of getting recalled to the next round and landing the role. If you want to take what I teach you in this episode further, listen all the way to the end, because I've got something amazing that I think you are going to absolutely love. Let's get on with this then, auditions. This episode came about because last night in class, as I was coaching my acting students, we were doing a table read of Hamlet. And one of the things that I noticed is that Shakespeare can bring up all sorts of worries in actors, as can any script, as can any character. But what I noticed specifically about the Hamlet table read is that the actors intellectually understood what was going on. They absolutely understood the storyline, and they understood the majority of what they were saying, even though the language of Shakespeare can be quite challenging to understand at first. If you're not used to the rhythm of the lines, the iambic pentameter, the imagery that's in it, because Shakespeare is very, very rich in imagery, or the emotional cues and the stage direction cues that are in the language, like that can be overwhelming if Shakespeare is new to you. But these actors understood what was going on, even though they are relatively new to Shakespeare. But the problem was that they were sitting back on this. So even though they understood the story in this table read, and a table read is literally where you sat around a table or you sat in seats, you don't have to actually be around a table, you can just be sat in a circle, but you're sat down and you are reading the script from the script. Now, just because it's a table read doesn't mean that you don't need to go all in and give everything. Table reads are great places to test out your creative impulses, which we're going to come to a little later on in the episode. But you might be thinking, well, what has a table read of Hamlet got to do with auditions? And it has got everything to do with auditions, because how you show up in table reads, how you show up in your classes, how you show up in productions is how you show up in the industry and at auditions. So they understood the story. They understood what each of their characters were doing, but they were sitting back. And what I mean by sitting back is playing it safe. So when they were playing it safe, they weren't really listening to their creative instincts. And I just called them creative impulses a moment ago. But creative instincts and creative impulses are the exact same thing. So a creative instinct is an instinct that you get inside of you, and it tells you to do something with the character or with the scene. Your creative instincts give you new ideas. And yet these actors weren't listening to them. And I noticed this happening in auditions as well, because I hold auditions for people to come and train with me in the 10-week modules. People have to audition for that. And I've also sat in on auditions when I've run a theatre company in the past. And I've held auditions for film directors as well. And so I see when actors are sitting back, playing it safe, and not listening to the creative instincts. And it happens more than you probably imagine. So the reason it happens is if an actor is feeling a little bit shy about listening to this creative instinct, or they're worried that if they do, they'll do something wrong, or they think it might not be good enough. They think the idea that they've got instinctually might not be good enough. So they'll sit back and they ignore these creative instincts, right? And this happens in auditions as well. So last night in class, I asked my students, what's going on? What's actually going on in the story? And they told me. They said, oh, this is happening. Horatio, who's one of the characters, is doing this, and there's a ghost or this apparition that's appeared, and they're feeling a little bit curious about it and a little bit excited, but also a bit scared, and it's a little bit unbelievable. And I said, okay, so you know what's going on, so why aren't you playing that? It's because they were listening to the voices in their head. And the voices in their head, in method acting, are known as mental tension. So it's those voices that tell you, oh no, don't follow this instinct because you might look silly. Oh, don't do that because it might not be right. Oh, no, don't do it because it might not be good enough, or it might not be what the director wants. So I asked them why they weren't following their creative instincts. And I let that question sink in. They didn't need to give me an answer. But then I reminded them that acting is a visual art. And this is something you need to remember for your auditions. This is how you're going to deliver a better audition and increase your chances of getting recalled and landing the role. So acting is a visual art. It's not voiceover. We don't just make the lines sound emotional. We have to create the story visually as well. So this means the character is moving. The character is doing something physically, even if it's looking in a particular direction, even if it's scratching the head, even if it's picking the nose, whatever. Like, the character is always doing something as well as talking. So I asked them to imagine, these are my acting students last night doing the table read for Hamlet, but you can take the same advice through into your next or first audition. I asked them to imagine that they were in a big pot of creativity, like a big cauldron of creativity, and they had to keep adding something into that pot, both when they were speaking and when they weren't, and that had to happen verbally and physically. And all of a sudden, because I'd given them permission to do that, and then they relaxed and thought, oh my God, yeah, I can do that because Louise wants me to. The table read became very, very exciting. And it was really engaging to watch. And I was excited to watch it. Now, you have got to give yourself permission in auditions to do the same thing. So in an audition situation, remind yourself, if you feel shy, you have got to follow those creative instincts, because if you don't, you will get overlooked and you won't get the role and you won't get recalled, because you'll become like a wallflower amongst all the other actors who were auditioning. And there will be another actor out there who will follow their creative instincts. And I don't want you getting overlooked. Does it really matter if you follow your creative instincts and you do something that you think looks a bit silly? Absolutely not. It doesn't really matter. Because at least you were bold, you were brave, and you were courageous, and you took the risk creatively. And you have to train yourself to take risks. Either they're going to pay off or they're not. But it doesn't matter if they don't pay off, because you can always go to another audition and try again. That audition that you go to that you didn't get is not going to be the only audition that you'll ever go to. There are always going to be opportunities for auditions. Because if you don't train yourself to start taking risks, the alternative is that you are training yourself to be shy in auditions. And whatever you decide to practice, you're going to get good at. So if you decide to sit back and tell yourself, oh no, I'm not going to do this because I'm going to look silly, it might not be what the casting director wants or the director, so I'll just not do anything. You're going to train yourself to keep doing that at auditions, and you're going to get good at being shy. Is that the type of actor you want to be? You've got to ask yourself that. Do I want to be that type of actor who trains myself to be shy and not take a risk, and, does risk doing something that perhaps the director hadn't seen? Or do I want to train myself to be the actor that takes risks, knowing that at some point, if I keep practicing taking risks, I'll get better at it, and I'll get better with characters, and I'll stand out. Like, which actor do you want to be? Only you can decide. So here's something I want you to do. See every audition as your canvas. Or you could see it as the cauldron that I mentioned to my students last night. You've got to keep throwing things onto the canvas or into the cauldron to paint the picture for your audience. And in an audition situation, your audience is the panel, which is usually a casting director, maybe a producer, the director, maybe the writer. If you are shy and you don't take a risk, you go into the audition with a blank canvas and you leave that audition with a blank canvas. But if you decide to take a risk and be bold and follow those creative instincts that you get inside in your gut that are saying, do this, like try this thing with the character, try that accent, try that walk, try that voice, try that new thing emotionally, try that new moment in the scene. If you go in with that mindset of, do you know what, I'm just going to try it, you'll walk in with a blank canvas and you'll leave with a canvas that has painted a picture. You have to remember that in auditions, you need to be leaving everything in the room. You don't want to be taking that character back out with you and leaving the audition going, oh shit, I didn't do that thing. Oh, I thought if only I'd have tried that feeling in that moment there where I thought they were sad and just allowed myself to follow that creative instinct to lean into the emotion. Oh, you don't want to be taking those thoughts out with you because that means you've not left everything in the room. That means you've taken things with you. When I go into auditions, I want to feel like I've emptied myself out creatively. And then I go back out into real life and I fill myself back up creatively. And then I go back and train again and I fill myself back up creatively, ready for the next audition where I'm going to empty myself out creatively and leave everything on that blank canvas. So I imagine there's an imaginary blank canvas in the audition room. And the audition room can be when you're doing a self-tape, it can be in person, it can be online. But you're putting something on that canvas. And then it's just down to the producers and the casting directors to decide whether they like your canvas or not. Does that make sense? So if you start going into auditions with that mindset, you'll start to become a more confident actor. You'll start making more bold choices with your characters. You'll start standing out from all the other actors who are feeling shy and who aren't taking a risk. And you'll start to increase how many recalls you get and how many roles you land. If this is something you know you need help with in terms of auditions, then you really need to become a member of the Method Actors Circle. Inside the Method Actors Circle, this is a monthly membership and it is specifically designed for aspiring and unknown ambitious actors who are serious about becoming a professional actor and making this their full-time job. And inside the Method Actors Circle, we have a number of classes. They're drop-in, so you don't have to come to them, but obviously I encourage you to because it's going to help you. And one of those classes is the Audition Zone. And inside the Audition Zone, you bring to me either a script that you are currently preparing that you've got to do a self-tape for or an online or in-person audition for, and I will look at it, I will look at your scene, and I'll tell you how to improve it. Or you bring to me an audition piece that you've done in the past, which you didn't get the role for, and I help you with it and show you what you needed to do to be able to get the role. Or if you're brand new and you don't have anything, you bring a monologue that you can use as a mock audition, and I will work you through it and tell you what to do to make it good enough to be audition ready. You need confidence when you're going into auditions. You need to know you're making bold character choices and you need to know you're doing something different than all other actors that gets you to stand out but is truthful. And is so truthful that you're living through the character in that audition. And I show you how to do that in the Audition Zone. So I highly encourage you to come and join it because the very first Audition Zone class inside of the Method Actors Circle is Thursday, the 20th of July, 8 p.m. till 9 p.m. UK time. We've currently got an introduction price running of £19 per month. Obviously, you get more than just the Audition Zone class. You get a 4-hour character development class. You get weekly craft of acting Q&As. You get motivational emails on a Monday to help you with your mindset, to keep you motivated, keep you taking action with your acting goals and dreams. But if you want to join the Audition Zone, you must get in on the introduction price, which is only available for one more day, £19 per month. In a day's time, in 24 hours time, that goes up. Okay? Once you lock in at £19 per month, that's it. It's £19 per month forever. Even if the price goes up to everyone else, you still lock in at that price. Can you imagine using what I teach you in the Audition Zone and then getting cast, even in an independent film where you get paid £150 a day? You've more than made that £19 back. Or if you get cast in a day player role in a soap and you're getting paid in the high hundreds, thousands, you've more than made that £19 back. The Method Actor Circle is a worthy investment in your acting career because it's going to help you land the roles that you want. So go and click the link underneath this episode. Go and check it out. The timetable is on the website. You can see what you get. You can see some lovely reviews, testimonials from previous actors who I've coached and trained. But I highly recommend you join it. With all that in mind, I really hope this episode has been useful. I really hope you have learned a lot, you're feeling inspired, and you are going to see auditions with new eyes, with fresh eyes as a professional actor would. And I'll see you in the next episode. I've absolutely loved hanging out with you, and I really hope you found this episode inspiring. If you have, please do rate the podcast and hit follow so you never miss an episode, and I can help more actors like you. And come and join one of the most supportive, uplifting acting communities on socials, the Unstoppable Actors Facebook group, where you'll get your weekly injection of inspiration, networking, and receive your free Method Actors handbook so you can become an unstoppable actor.